What if I told you that one of the world's most famous herbivores is technically a carnivore, who just decided to cosplay as a vegetarian? Today, on Guess What I Found Out, we're going to discover some facts about bears, dietary versatility, and why the giant panda is basically the most stubborn member of the Carnivora Club. Yes, Curious George, pandas belong to the same order as wolves, lions, and your neighborhood apex predator. And yet, they chose bamboo. Let's talk about how most bears became survival geniuses, and how one bear said, "Nah, I'll just eat grass sticks forever." Bears belong to the order Carnivora, which means their ancestors evolved as meat-eaters. They have the teeth structure, jaw strength, and digestive equipment for animal protein. But here's the twist. Most bears are not picky. Brown bears, black bears, polar bears, they are dietary opportunists. If it moves, they'll eat it. If it doesn't move, they'll still consider it. Berries, fish, insects, carrion, roots, honey, small mammals, large mammals, garbage cans. Basically, if it exists, it's on the menu. That flexibility is evolutionary gold. When seasons change, they adapt. When prey disappears, they pivot. When food is scarce, they improvise. They are the Swiss Army knives of digestion. If that makes you respect bears a little more, go ahead and like this video. It lets the algorithm know we appreciate animals who diversify their portfolios. Now let's talk about the panda. The giant panda has carnivore teeth, carnivore ancestry, carnivore digestive tract, and yet it eats almost exclusively bamboo, which, by the way, is low in nutrients, high in fiber, and difficult to digest. That's like being built to run a steakhouse and deciding to open a celery cafe instead. Pandas spend up to 14 hours a day eating bamboo just to meet their energy needs. They consume massive quantities because bamboo does not offer much caloric return. Curious George, this is what happens when you specialize too hard. Millions of years ago, pandas likely shifted toward bamboo as a niche strategy. Competing with other carnivores for meat is risky. Specializing in something abundant but ignored can reduce competition, you know. In stable environments, specialization works. But, well, specialization reduces flexibility. Unlike brown bears, who can switch from salmon to berries to scavenging, pandas are heavily tied to bamboo availability. That makes them vulnerable to habitat loss and environmental change. Adaptability versus specialization. That is the evolutionary showdown. All right, Curious George, quick vote. Option A, be a flexible brown bear who eats whatever works. Option B, be a panda who commits so hard to bamboo that it becomes your entire personality. Drop your answer in the comments and defend it. Let's see who makes the better evolutionary argument. Team adaptable or team committed? Here is where it gets interesting. Pandas still have carnivore-style digestive systems. They do not have the complex multi-chamber stomachs of true herbivores like cows. Instead, they rely on chewing, a lot of chewing. They have powerful jaw muscles and broad molars adapted for crushing bamboo fibers. But internally, they are still built like carnivores, which means they extract nutrients inefficiently. That is why they eat constantly. If you ever feel like you're working harder than necessary to survive, remember, somewhere a panda is chewing for 14 hours straight just to break even. If that mental image earned at least a small chuckle, consider following for more evolutionary plot twists. Across evolutionary history, dietary flexibility has repeatedly provided resilience. When climates shift, when ecosystems collapse, when food chains wobble, generalists often outlast specialists. We saw this after mass extinctions. We see it in modern ecological disruptions. The bears that can pivot tend to persist. The panda survives today, but its survival depends heavily on conservation efforts and stable bamboo forests. Nature does not always reward the cutest strategy. It rewards adaptability. So remember the opening claim. The panda is technically a carnivore that chose to specialize in bamboo. Meanwhile, its cousins embraced dietary versatility and became some of the most resilient large mammals on Earth. Same order, different strategy. Very different risk profile. Do you know any other animals that dramatically changed their diet over evolutionary time? Drop those in the comments. And while you are here, check out our growing collection of fun fact deep dives on this page. We cover extinction events, survival strategies, and the weird decisions evolution somehow made work. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe now. Because if pandas can rewrite their menu against all odds, what else is evolution hiding? I will see you in the next discovery.